You're listening to What on Earth is Happening here on Republic Broadcasting. I'm your host, Mark Passio. My website, whatonearthishappening.com. All calls tonight from listeners. Any questions, comments, concerns, speculations are fair game. No taboo topics. There never are on this show. The call-in number to join us, 800-313-9443. Let's go back to the phones and hear from John in Seattle. John, you're live on What on Earth is Happening. Welcome.
Hello?
Yes. Hi, John. You're live.
Hi. Sorry, I'm back on. I was the first caller tonight. I hope it's okay.
Oh, no worries.
Great. I guess I'm just hungry for more truth tonight. I have a question. I would like to know your thoughts about Aleister Crowley. And I've noticed between several different researchers that there's different opinions upon their views about who Aleister Crowley was and his role in our modern society today. And like Freeman, for instance, his material is pretty interesting. And
anti-Crowley, yes.
Right, and I would just like to. I haven't heard you really state one way or the other where you might fall.
I'm going to give you the best location to go to check out my views on Crowley, where I, as meticulously as possible, give my view of the man and his work. That is the show that I did with Bob from Cincinnati on Occult Empire, on his show Occult Empire, called Thelema. Okay, if you listen to that show, I essentially broke down the Thelemic philosophy, and I talked about Crowley's work as having to be distinguished from Crowley the man or his personal deeds. Okay, a teacher can put out good spiritual information and then not walk the path. And this was clearly the case with Crowley. So, and also you have to understand that Crowley wasn't himself consciously always writing his works. He was channeling these works, or he was writing them in extreme altered states of consciousness. And they were works that were, you could say, coming in through him as a medium. So he was a medium. So mediumship is when you are allowing your body to be used to write material that may be coming from other consciousnesses that are disembodied or not your own. Okay, this has been called automatic writing or channeling. Okay, so there's people like Barbara Marciniak who do it, Bashar, Neil Donald Walsh. There's a lot of different channels out there. Crowley was one of them. He practiced channeling. So you have to very much make the discernment that when you read his writings, you may be reading one consciousness or another consciousness or his own ego-driven consciousness at certain times. And you have to be aware of that flow in his writing and realize, hey, it could jump from one state of consciousness to another on the same page. So what I tell people is Crowley is not what you want to initiate people through. Bad idea. Okay? Because it's so complex. It's an enigma. It's a puzzle. Okay? And even like a lot of discerning students into the occult may have a lot of Crowley's material wrong, or may, not really understand that the material is not just straightforward. Then you have to look at his actions and his behavior and say, hey, he said this and he did this. There's conflict here. There's contradiction here. So, then you have to, that doesn't mean you totally call into question what he said. It just means you have to say what was the actual character of the man. So somebody could be saying, hey, live in harmony with each other, understand the difference between right and wrong, live in harmony with natural law. But then if you don't do that in your own life, that doesn't mean that you're lying about what you were saying about natural law. It just means you fell from that path. And you couldn't actually walk it in your own life. So what someone who was looking at your work would then have to say, using discernment, is, well, I will listen to what that person said, but I'm certainly not going to behave like that. And this is the case with Crowley. It really is the idea of do as I said, not as I did. Okay? It really, that old adage, do as I say, not as I do, really holds true with someone like him. So I tell people, read and discern his work and understand it's complex, it's enigmatic, and there's more than one thing going on there. It's not just him writing it in his everyday state of consciousness. You have to be aware of that. But then take to heart what resonates with truth, and then you got to look at his behavior and say, well, he fell from that path. He didn't live like he said, so certainly don't pattern your life after his. Hey, look at how natural law rewarded him. How did he end up?
Yeah.
He ended up penniless, drug addicted, dying of lung problems because of his drug addiction and his poor health in a hovel, alone, with hardly anybody around him caring about him. That's how he went out of this world. Okay? Natural law probably caught up with him in this domain, in this realm. So that's kind of my take on Crowley. I really like his material. I like some of his writings. Not all of them. I don't agree with all of it. And I think you have to really discern between the writings in the spiritual domain that he channeled versus the consciousness of him, the man, and his behavior in the 3D world, which there's a lot of contradictions there. So it requires discernment, and it's certainly not a place you want to start if you're starting to look into spirituality, or if you're starting to look into occultism. Crowley is a place you want to end up at, not start at.
Right.
Yep. I hope that answers your question.
Great. Sure did.
Great.
Thank you so much.
John, thank you.